I have a secret to share with you today. It's a little hard for me to admit this, but I don't always like spending every moment of my life with my children. Wait, is that not a secret? I see people patting each other. You get it, you get it. If you had known me a few years ago, that actually might come as a surprise to you. I was diagnosed with cancer in November of 2013. And at the time, I was a parent. My girls were 6 and 3. They were amazing. And all I wanted when I got that news was to be with my children. I wanted them to chase the fear away. I wanted them to protect me. I wanted them to show me what it was to live. And all of my friends and family, as wonderful as they are, and as amazingly specific as this is, all wanted to take my kids away from me. Now, they didn't want to take them and give them to an orphanage. They didn't think I was going to die, but they thought, oh, Jen needs some time. You know, she needs some time alone. She might be tired. She needs some time with her husband. I want to help in a really specific way. So let me take your kids away from you. And at the time, I didn't have the freedom in my friendships to say, whoa, Nellie, that's exactly the opposite of what help looks like to me at this moment. And it was in that moment when I was evaluating my friendships in the middle of the worst crisis I had faced to date that I had this epiphany that my friendships were truly the expression of my freedom. It's kind of hard to explain how that is, so I have kind of two ways to show you how your friendships are the true expression of freedom. The first one is to talk about the depth of your friendship. There is an article that came out in the LA Times, I don't even remember when, but 2 psychologists wrote it, named Susan Silk and Barry Goldman. And the title of the article is How to Not Say the Wrong Thing. So everybody needs to read it, right? It's really popular among cancer support circles. And the idea that's presented in the article is called the ring theory, also known as the kvetching circle. I like the name kvetching circle. And if you don't speak Yiddish, kvetching means moaning or complaining or being upset. And so the theory of the kvetching circle is that you take the person who's in a crisis, or the sick person, and they're at the center of a bullseye. And then you have concentric circles that go out away from that center person. In each of those circles that go out are people and their relationship to the person in the middle. So if you're in the smallest circle, closest to the person in the middle, you are closer to that person. The depth of your relationship is deeper. Usually that means family, not always. Sometimes it means friends. And the further out you go, the further away your relationship is from that person in the middle. When you get to the outermost circle, which is that guy in the water cooler, or who stands by the water cooler, who when you see him standing there, you run to the bathroom to drink from the tap because you don't want to stand next to him and get water from there. That's the outermost circle. What I loved about this theory is that it talks to us about how we should provide comfort in and complaining out. So comfort in, dump out, right? So it makes sense that when you're on a close circle, you really shouldn't complain to the person in the middle about how their cancer's really screwing up your life right now, making it hard to go out, right? But you can definitely talk to your friends about it. And so it's a wonderful way to learn to develop a support system for yourself when you're watching someone be in crisis. But I think there's something missing from the theory. And when I thought about my friendships, I tried to think about where they fit, which circle were all of my friends in. And I realized that we have no idea what circle we're in unless we're the one in the center. So here we are, here are my friends trying to help me. I'm trying to, gain support, and nobody knows where they sit in the circles. So I developed a series of very easy questions to help determine the depth of your friendship. The first one is really simple. When you have a crisis, when you're upset, does that person in the middle call you? The second question is, when you talk to that person in the middle, do you talk for more than 5 minutes? Or is it just like a hi and bye at the bus stop? The third question is, when you do talk to that person, what kind of information are you sharing? Are you sharing a depth of information? Are you bearing your soul? Or are you talking about the weird guy in the house down the corner that painted it a really funny color and nobody likes it? And the thing is, if you can answer yes to more of those questions than not, it can be an indication that you have a deeper relationship. Now, it's not a fail-safe plan, right? I mean, we can never really know how close we are to people. And I have found, as I'm sure all of you have, that my best friends are not necessarily my everyday friends. Right? So the people I feel closest to, the people I want to share my life with, the people that I brought in closer to me when I was in a crisis, they weren't necessarily the people that I saw every day. The people that I saw at the bus stop, the people that, I waved hi to every once in a while. So the depth of your friendships can really show you whether you're truly expressing your freedom. Because remember, friendships are truly the ultimate expression of your freedom. So when I say freedom, what does that mean? To me, freedom means choice. Freedom is the ultimate choice, isn't it? We get to decide who is in this car with us as we're riding down this road of life. We get to decide when it's time to stop and let someone in the car, and we get to decide when it's time to stop and boot them, right? But it's hard to know when to do that and how to do that. And in my experience, the worst time in the world to do that is when you're in the middle of a crisis. It is the absolute worst time to do it. And when does everyone break up with their friends? We break up with our friends when we're in the middle of a crisis. And let me tell you, you can't make sound decisions when your emotions are all over the place. I hate to break it to you. We all want to think that we're in charge, that we got this handled, we can do it. You can't make good decisions about your friendships there. I had a really wonderful friend. We met in our 20s, which, means we met in a bar. And we held each other's hair when we were praying to the porcelain god. And we danced and we met boys. And eventually we got married and we had children. And our lives tracked with each other. And the beautiful thing about that friendship was it really felt like it was growing in the same direction. And we'd known each other for so long that we almost stopped being friends. We became family. But I discovered something kind of interesting later. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, right? And when I look back, I realized that she's an only child, and I have a sister. And so to her, I was the sister that she had never had. Only I have a sister. And the way I perceive the relationship with my sister is very different than the way she perceived what a relationship with a sister was like. She was thinking Sweet Valley High, best friends forever. Let's wear matching clothes. Let's let our husbands look the same. Let's drive the same car. Our kids will go to the same school. And I'm coming from a place where I understand that having a sister means that there can be years of lows and years of highs, and that the give and take is rarely equal, but that's okay. So when you pair Sweet Valley High with laid back sister, what ends up happening is a resentment that builds up inside. Because I didn't see the relaxing part on her side. And she didn't see the best friends forever and square dancing side, right? But of course I ignored all of that because this was my best friend, people. She held my hair back when I needed to vomit, okay? You don't get closer than that. You don't have a better friend than that. And because of that time we'd spent together, I was willing to forgive those things. Now, isn't forgiveness a good thing? Isn't it good to forgive our friends? Isn't it good to recognize who we are and who they are in a relationship? We fast forward to me getting diagnosed. And all of the separation between us just started getting deeper and more vast. And she didn't understand me, and I didn't understand her. And I was grieving my diagnosis and grieving the loss of my friend at the same time. And it wasn't a good feeling. I didn't realize I had a choice at that time. I could have chosen to pursue the friendship, to forgive her, to let it all go. Instead, I decided to show up at her front door, knocking on there, bald as a cue ball, okay, and shouting in her face about how, you're a terrible friend, I just can't handle this anymore, this is the end. And I have a very strong memory of sitting in my car after that moment and watching her close the front door. And I realized that she wasn't closing the door, I had done that. I was the one that shut the door by not letting her in. Because I could have friends, I could have, over the course of 10 years, explained to her what it is to be sisters, right? I could have explained to her what it is to have a high and a low and a give and take and a flow and knowing that that person's always there. But no, I just decided that I was going to assume she would know what I was thinking. That choice led to the closing door of the friendship. So when I talk about freedom in friendships, you have the freedom to decide who your friends are, and you have the freedom to decide how to manage those friendships. And I call that a cultivated friendship. So it's like a crop, right? If you take a seed and you just put it in the dirt and leave it alone, maybe something will grow. And it might be nice, or it might be a weed, right? You don't know what it is. But if you take that same seed and you put it in the soil and you care for it and you water it and you watch it grow and you fertilize it and you treat it well, it will grow into something, whatever it's meant to be. It may be that after that seed blooms, it's the ugliest flower you have ever seen. And so you pluck it because you don't want that in your garden, right? But that's still a choice. It's an active choice. And you're not making it when the seed is growing. And you're not making it just because it's hot outside and you're stressed and you just don't know what your garden looks like. You're making those choices all along the way. And that's how you can use friendships as the ultimate expression of your freedom. So you have to look at the depth of your friendship. And we should do this on a regular basis, people. We evaluate all of our other relationships pretty much constantly, right? Especially if we're in romantic relationships or we're married. I mean, I don't know about you, but there's like a constant roll in my head evaluating. But I don't do that for my friends because I just assume they're going to be there. But that's not fair. I'm not giving them the opportunity to express the freedom of our friendship by letting them know who I really am. So the depth of your friendship should be evaluated. I mean, I don't want to say you need to be doing it every day. We have other things to do, right? But it's something to be thinking about with the people in your life. And then you need to look at how you want to express that freedom. Does that freedom mean that it's time to part ways? Because if it is, that's okay. Not every relationship can last forever. Or does that freedom mean that you see that little seedling and you want to cultivate it and you want to fertilize it and you want it to grow into something bigger? You get to make that choice. Freedom, friendship, they're all related. And we get the ability to choose. We get the ability to decide. Imagine yourself sitting in a car right now and you're driving to your favorite place. Restaurant, an island, castle in the middle of McLean. Who would you pick to be sitting next to you for that journey? Who is that person? Do you want that person to ride with you all the way to the castle in McLean, or do you want them to meet you there? Right? Either is okay, but you have a choice. You don't have to go through your friendships. You don't have to go through life blindly without making that choice. Cultivate friendships, and you'll have the opportunity to see your own friendships blossom into the true expression of your freedom. Thank you.